करें। तो बच्चे
हमारे दिसंबर वाली मीटिंग का नोटिफिकेशन कुछ पेंडिंग है यार, तुम बैठती भला वो देख के बता देती।
अब ऐसा जरा मिस साइमा गुलजार का माइक
कांटेक्ट
म्यूट
करने वाली
करवाएं।
बनती। नहीं नहीं, जिसका पेंडिंग है हम उसको फिर कांटेक्ट करने वाले बनते।
मिस साइमा गुलजार का माइक ऑन है मैडम।
जी उसको म्यूट कर देना आप, वो कोई और बात कर रही हैं। हाँ जी शुक्रिया।
जी जी मैंने
जी साइमा अहमद, आप अपना स्क्रीन शेयर करें काइंडली और आप स्टार्ट करें।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। डॉक्टर हमने मेरी स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो रही।
जी अवैस साहब इनको अलाउ कर दें स्क्रीन शेयरिंग साइमा अहमद को।
जी मैंने कर दी।
ठीक है।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। I am Saima Ahmed. I am here
जी
to present my research work.
जी
And the
साइमा
title
एक मिनट रुकिएगा।
जी
अवैस साहब आप मिस साइमा अहमद के अलावा बाकी माइक्स म्यूट कर दें ताकि बैकग्राउंड नॉइज ना आए प्रेजेंटेशन में, इसके बाद फिर ओपन कर लेंगे। थैंक यू। जी साइमा आप स्टार्ट करते हैं।
जी and the title of my research work is Development and Validation of Obesity Scale for Pakistani Women, Mediational Role of Marital Relationship in Women with Obesity. Introduction. In Pakistan, married men and women gain weight. People are more careful about their weight and health when they are young and before they get married, especially women. Once women get married, have children, and establish career, they lose interest in their physical bodies and are less careful about their intake and exercise to maintain healthful life. Obesity. Obesity and overweight are the result of surplus energy stored in the body for a long time in the form of fat. Overweight and being obese are essentially the same thing, where individuals who suffer from obesity are heavier than people who are overweight. Marital relationship. Most fulfilling and the deepest of human relationship is marriage. Each generation gets social aspiration and fulfill their fundamental needs through marriage. Marriage has a different meaning and connotation. Marriage controls and regulates reproduction as an integral part of human existence. Different concepts like companionship, consensus, satisfaction, and marital success has been used frequently as a synonym of marital relationship. Personality traits. Many of us consider personality a complex phenomenon to explain but easy to understand. Personality leaves a direct impact on life. It has a direct link with the relationship satisfaction. Most prevalent framework on personality is Big Five or five-factor model of personality that include five traits that are extraversion, neuroticism, openness, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. These are the most basic dimensions that shape the personality structure. Coping. It is an effort to regulate environment, physiology, behavior, cognition, and emotion in response to stressful circumstance or event. Folkman presented most widely used model of coping that is composed of problem focused and emotion focused. Problem focused engagement coping, engaging with pain and its possible causes is engagement coping, whereas emotion focused disagreement coping is an attempt to escape feelings of distress. It is a maladaptive or unhealthy form of coping. Objectives of the current study. To develop an indigenous tool for the assessment of factors of obesity, to establish psychometric properties of obesity scale, to find out the mediating role of coping between factors of obesity, marital relationship in employed married women with obesity. Method. Method of the current study is comprised of three studies. Study 1, development of obesity scale. Study 2, validation of obesity scale. Study 3, relationship among factors of obesity, marital relationship, personality traits, and coping. Study 1, development of obesity scale. Obesity scale was developed in following phases. Phase 1, exploring the phenomenology of factors of obesity. Factors of obesity were explored in the following three steps: focus group and semi-structured interviews, empirical validation, and pilot study. Step 1, focus group and semi-structured interviews. Three separate focus groups were conducted. Pervasive sampling was used with the age range of 22 to 45. Each group was comprised of 5 members. 4 semi-structured interviews were conducted with the age range of 36 to 48. Step 2. Empirical validation. For this purpose, 73 items generated as a result of focus group and semi-structured interviews were sent to 5 experts. They were also asked to add or suggest any other item with relevant to the construct. Thus, according to criteria given by Lin and the ratings of the expert, only 23 items were selected. The scale CVI with the value of 0.80 was found acceptable. Step 3. Pilot study. A sample of 50 participants with the age range of 25 to 54 was selected. List of 23 items finalized after CVI with 5-point Likert type scale format was used for pilot study. Participants did not report any ambiguity in items and 23 items were retained. Phase 2. Exploratory factor analysis. A sample of 350 employed women with obesity was selected with the age of 22 to 50 years. 23 items finalized after pilot study were subject to EFA using variance rotation. 3-factor solution was emerged. All the items having factor loading greater than 0.35 were retained. All factors were retained as they have eigenvalue greater than 1. Variance was also found to be greater than 50%. The final scale comprises of 23 items. Factor 1 was named as psychological factor. It is composed of 11 items. Factor 2, emotional factor. It includes 8 items. And factor 3, cognitive factors. It includes 4 items. Phase 3, CFA confirmatory factor analysis. 23 items of the Westy scale retained through EFA were exposed to CFA using AMOS 22. A sample of 400 teachers and doctors was selected with the age range of 25 to 55. Factor loading of the scale on the 3 factors confirm the factor structure of a Westy scale. Item loading greater than 0.35 was retained according to initial criteria. The results revealed 23 items with 3-factor solution. Study 2. Validation of the Westy scale. The instrument was validated by determining convergent, discriminant, and construct validity. Establishment of the convergent validity. Convergent validity of the Westy scale was established against disorder eating behavior scale. A sample of 100 obese employed women was selected. The mean age of the participant was 35.68. The value of Pearson correlation shows obesity scale has high convergent validity. Establishment of the discriminant validity. Discriminant validity of the Westy scale was established against body image scale. A sample of 100 obese employed women was selected. The mean age of the participant was 38.70. The value of Pearson correlation shows that Westy scale has high discriminant validity. Establishment of the construct validity. Construct validity was established by using method of contrasted group. A sample of 100 obese and non-obese employed women was selected. Result shows that obese individuals scored high on obesity scale than non-obese individuals. Study 3. Mediational role of marital relationship in employed women with obesity. In this section, the relationship among factors of obesity, marital relationship, personality traits, and coping strategies will be discussed. The present study was conducted in the city of Lahore. Ex post facto research design was used. Purposive sampling technique was used. Married employed women having BMI more than 30 with the age range of 25 to 55 years was included. Employed women having minimum 2 years of job experience, 2 years of marital duration, and having minimum 1 child was included in the study. Both public and private sector employed was taken. Women having any psychological disorder or any physical problem was not included in the sample. Pregnant women or women having any bariatric surgery was also not included in the sample. A sample of 400 obese employed including 54% teachers and 46% doctors were included. Instruments. Demographic performer. A demographic form was developed. Age, marital status, marital duration, number of children, job experience, height and weight were included as demographic variables. BM. Standard procedure were used to measure the height and weight. Height in meters and weight in kilograms was obesity scale. Obesity scale is a self-report measure that was developed in study 1. Relationship satisfaction scale, it's a 10-item scale. This scale uses 6-point response format ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. 10-item personality inventory, it's a 10-item self-report measure. It is comprised of 5 subscales. The scale uses 7-point response format ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Brief coping response inventory, it's a self-report measure comprising of 10 items. This inventory uses 5-point rating scale ranging from never to always. Results and discussion. Demographic characteristics of the participant. It was observed that 51% of the participants fall in the period of early adulthood. Marital duration of the 45% was between 1 to 5 years. Most of the participants have only 2 children. 53% belong to private sector. 46% are doctor and 54% were teacher. Most of the participants have 1 to 5 years of job experience, and 64% of the participants belong to class 2 of obesity. Hypothesis 1. There will be a negative relationship between factor of obesity and marital relationship. Hypothesis was approved. You can see from that marital relationship is negatively correlated with psychological, emotional, and cognitive factor of obesity. The results were consistent with the studies conducted in 2017, which showed that significant negative relationship between factors of obesity and marital relationship is seen. The findings are also consistent with the previous studies conducted in the past. Hypothesis 2. High scores on extraversion, openness to experience, emotional stability, and agreeableness will predict strong marital relationship in married employed women with obesity. Stepwise regression was applied, and it is seen that openness to experience and extraversion both were found as positive significant predictors of marital relationship. The results were consistent with the studies conducted in the past. Hypothesis 3. High scores on conscientiousness will predict weak marital relationship in married employed women with obesity. Linear regression was applied, and results show that conscientiousness is a significant negative predictor of marital relationship. Results are also consistent with the studies conducted in the past. Hypothesis 4. There will be a positive relationship between factors of obesity and 4 personality traits: extraversion, openness to experience, or emotional stability, and agreeableness in obese employed. Result shows that there is a significant positive correlation between extraversion, agreeableness, emotional stability, openness to experience, and psychological, emotional, and cognitive factors of obesity scale. It is consistent with the findings of the studies conducted in the past. Hypothesis 5. Factors of obesity will be negative correlated with conscientiousness. The result shows that significant negative correlation between factors of obesity and marital relationship. Hypothesis 6. Obese employed women who have strong marital relationship will use reappraisal coping, and women who have weak marital relationship will use disengagement coping. The results of the Pearson correlation show a significant, strong positive correlation between marital relationship and reappraisal coping, whereas significant, strong negative correlation between marital relationship and disengagement. The results are consistent with the studies conducted in the past. Hypothesis 8. Obesity in employed women will increase with age. Independent sample t-test was applied to find out the difference between early adulthood and middle adulthood on scales of factors of obesity. Results show there is no significant difference between two groups. Hypothesis 9. There will be no difference between type of profession and scores on factors of obesity. Independent sample t-test was used to find out the difference between teachers and doctors on scores of factors of obesity. Results show that there is no significant difference between two groups. Hypothesis 10. Employed women in public sector will score high on factors of obesity as compared to women who are employed in private sector. Independent sample t-test was used to find out the difference between public and private sector employees on factors of obesity. Result shows that there is a significant difference between the two groups. Hypothesis 11. Coping will likely to mediate between factors of obesity and marital relationship in employed women with obesity. Factors of obesity were taken as exogenous variable. Marital relationship was taken as endogenous variable, whereas coping was considered mediating variable that has a link with outcome variable. Therefore, to identify the role of coping as mediator, SAM was used. The result shows that the structural path from openness to experience to reappraisal coping and from extraversion to reappraisal coping is significant and positive. You can also see that structural path from emotional factor and cognitive factor and psychological factor to relationship satisfaction is negative and significant. You can also see that structural path from reappraisal coping to relationship satisfaction is positive and significant, and structural path from disagreement coping to relationship satisfaction is negative and significant. Implications. The current study will add to knowledge in the field of obesity by filling gaps in the literature. When we talk about the research on factors of obesity, it is still at a stage. A complex health-related issue that needs to be addressed is obesity. It is a combination of different factors. A deliberate insight is offered in study 1 so that the researchers who work on factors of obesity remain cautious. The current study added psychometric instrument to find out the factors of obesity in Pakistan. The utility of obesity scale in clinical and health domain is very useful and important. Employed on psychological, emotional, and cognitive factors of an individual will help to improve the three domains that will directly improve the psychological as well as physical health of the individual. The findings of the current study have important implications for married women. Also, with reference to physical and psychological health, gynecologists, obstetricians, and health practitioners should consider women's BMI before the start of any treatment. Prevalence of obesity can also be controlled by considering the factors which are highlighted in this study. After weight reduction to maintain the body weight, this study could be a great help. Parental BMI is an important factor in developing obesity and overweight in children. When we talk about the relationship between marriage and obesity, the study could be of great help. By controlling the factors of obesity, weight can be controlled, so ultimately the quality of marital relationship will be improved. In addition, the link between weight and personality traits suggests that personality traits are of great importance in clinical setting with respect to development of obesity. This study will help to find out the type of personality traits that shows close connection with the obesity.
Ji, thank you, Saima, for the presentation. Dr. Salma and Dr. Afia are already here. So, अगर हमारे जो लोग दूसरे अवेलेबल हैं कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं तो एक आधा कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ लें, अदरवाइज फिर वो लेफ्ट कर दें और हम अपना वाइवे का सेशन करें. जी, we have two other members, Dr. Bisma and Dr. Umme Rubab Kazmi. If you want to ask any question or comment something, वो आप कर सकते हैं. Otherwise फिर हम उसके बाद वाइवा स्टार्ट करेंगे.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन. साइमा, मैं आपको बेस्ट विशेस देना चाह रही हूँ आपके डिफेंस के लिए. माशाल्लाह यू हैव डन अ ग्रेट जॉब एंड ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर वाइवा.
Okay, thank you. अवैध साहब, हमारे पास कितना टाइम बचा है वाइवा के लिए, काइंडली बताइएगा ताकि हम इसी सेशन में शुरू कर दें या हमें नेक्स्ट सेशन लेना पड़ेगा.
मिस 20 मिनट्स है.
ठीक है, फिर मेरा ख्याल है कि अगर हम अभी स्टार्ट कर दें वाइवा तो अच्छा होगा.
जी कर लें.
हाँ जी, ये स्क्रीन को ऑफ करें. ये अब जो भी होस्ट है वो स्क्रीन को ऑफ करे क्योंकि उस तरह हमें सिर्फ स्क्रीन नजर आ रही है.
हाँ जी, ये स्क्रीन को ऑफ कर दें और काइंडली ये इंश्योर कर दें कि हमारे पास, मैं चेक कर लेती हूँ कि कोई एक्स्ट्रा मेंबर तो नहीं है. डॉक्टर राफिया हैं, डॉक्टर सलमा हैं, मिस साइमा गुलजार हैं, मैडम है साइमा. जी हम डॉक्टर अलग फिर हम वाइवा स्टार्ट कर देते हैं. जी प्लीज.
जी
प्लीज शुरू करें.
कौन शुरू करेगा?
डॉक्टर आफिया, हाँ आप और सलमा में से जो भी बोलना सवाल करने
चलिए मैं
साइमा?
थोड़ा सा स्टार्ट करती हूँ, हम मिलके ही वाइवा ले लेते हैं इस तरीके से।
जी,
जी
जरूर।
साइमा जी, साइमा आपकी 3 स्टडीज थी और स्टडी 1 आपने ओबेसिटी का स्केल जो कंस्ट्रक्ट किया थ्रू फोकस ग्रुप इंटरव्यूज एंड रिव्यू, और the second study was basically an extension of study 1 that was regarding the psychometric properties, and then you did a model testing. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा उसके ऊपर मुझे आप बताएंगे कि थ्योरेटिकल बैकग्राउंड में यू मेंशन थ्योरी ऑफ प्लांट बिहेवियर, so can you explain how theory of plant behavior acted as a theoretical model for your study?
जी मैम, थ्योरी ऑफ प्लान बिहेवियर को इसलिए इसमें मेंशन किया गया क्योंकि द कंस्ट्रक्ट ऑफ द थ्योरी somehow somehow relevant to the components that were afterward emerged from the scale. क्योंकि जो स्केल हमने डेवलप किया उसमें ये था कि व्हाट आर द बिहेवियर्स, व्हाट आर द कॉजेज व्हिच लीड टुवर्ड द ओबेसिटी, इसलिए इसकी रेलेवेंस हमें लगी और हमने इस थ्योरी को इनकॉर्पोरेट किया एज अ बेस।
अच्छा, आपने टीचर्स और डॉक्टर्स लिए एज्ड बिटवीन 25 to 55 years. Was there any logic behind it that did you find that teachers and doctors were more obese compared to the general population? के overall आपने किस तरीके से सैंपल को जो है वो डिफाइन किया अपनी स्टडी में?
मैम, जब हमने लिटरेचर को सर्च किया तो मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टडीज कंडक्टेड वर कंप्राइजिंग ऑफ द सैंपल फ्रॉम टीचर्स एंड डॉक्टर्स, एंड इट वाज ऑब्जर्व दैट द teaching and healthcare profession are the two most stressful professions that are seen around. और इसी में टीचर्स एंड डॉक्टर्स को जब देखा गया तो दे वर इसी स्ट्रेसफुल उनकी प्रोफेशन की वजह से देवर मोर ओबीस एज कंपेयर टू अदर प्रोफेशंस। इसीलिए हमने लिटरेचर को देखते हुए टीचर्स एंड डॉक्टर्स का सैंपल।
अच्छा, और आपने जो बीएमआई को डिफाइन किया दैट इज एज पर डब्ल्यूएचओ के ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू 30, तो हाउ डिड यू कैलकुलेट दैट बीएमआई?
मैम, हमने हाइट ली और डेमोग्राफिक ने और वेट लिया और उसको हमने जो फॉर्मूला होता है बीएमआई का उसके थ्रू उसको कैलकुलेट किया।
ठीक है। अच्छा, मैं इसलिए थोड़ा जल्दी कर रही हूँ कि मुझे एक और भी मीटिंग अटेंड करनी है, इसलिए सॉरी मैं पहले स्टार्ट कर दिया। अच्छा,
कोई बात नहीं राफिया।
हाँ जी
डॉक्टर राफिया, आप करें।
जी जी, मैं ये बच्चे ये बताएं कि आपका हाइपोथेसिस है हाइपोथेसिस है पेज 71 पे। हाइपोथेसिस 1 आप लिख रही हैं रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स। नाउ पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स इज अ वाइडर टर्म, इसके अंदर आपको ब्रैकेट्स में देना चाहिए कि कौन से पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स, फिर उनका मैरिटल रिलेशनशिप और कौन सी कोपिंग स्ट्रेटजीज। पेज 71 मेरे पास तो आपका है।
जी मैम, जी मैम, बाकी
ठीक है, उसके अंदर आपने थोड़ी सी डिटेल देनी है क्योंकि पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स तो पॉजिटिव हो सकते हैं, कंस्ट्रक्टिव हो सकते हैं और जो है वो वर्चूज हो सकते हैं। तो कौन से पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स और कोपिंग स्ट्रेटजीज भी वो हो सकती हैं, अडैप्टिव और मैल अडैप्टिव, तो इसके अंदर हाइपोथेसिस में ना जरा आप वो उसको ऐड कर देना। अच्छा, ये बताएं कि यू यूज्ड अ टर्म एक्स पोस्ट फैक्टर, हाउ डू यू रिलेट इट एज अ रिसर्च डिजाइन with your own study?
Ma'am, it was actually ex post facto research design because we did not induce obesity; they were already obese. No treatment was.
इसके अलावा कोई और हम रिसर्च डिजाइन की टर्म यूज कर सकते हैं जो ऐसी कंडीशंस होती हैं? क्योंकि जाहिर है जब हम स्टडी कर रहे होते हैं, अभी हमने हेपेटाइटिस की देखी या हमने अभी कोई और स्टडी है हमारे पास हार्ट डिजीज से रिलेटेड, तो दीज आर द कंडीशंस दैट आर प्री एग्जिस्टिंग। एनी अदर रिसर्च डिजाइन यू कैन यूज इंस्टेड ऑफ एक्स पोस्ट फैक्टर? अच्छा चलो छोड़ो। Okay, now it's coming to exclusion criteria. you have written that psychological and physical problems would be excluded. So I would like you to add which type of psychological and physical problems would you like to exclude and why. So it is important that you should rewrite your exclusion criteria. थोड़ी सी details add करनी है. जैसे आपने लिखा कि pregnant women will be excluded. So you briefly write in a one line or so कि why are you recommending excluding pregnant women या people with psychological and physical problems. तो ये क्यों आप इसको recommend कर रहे हैं? ठीक है
जी.
अच्छा ये आपका जो है proposed model of mediation, इसको complete करना है अपने लाइन में कि proposed model of mediation of what. ठीक है, ये आपके एक सिंपल सा लिखा हुआ है. I would like you to explain me your proposed mediation model on page 121.
जी. मैम इसमें मॉडल में हम देख सकते हैं कि we can see that there are 5 personality traits that were considered that would be considered as exogenous variable along with the obesity scale, psychological, emotional and cognitive factors. Other than that, अगर हम इस तरफ देखें, there are coping strategies that is comprised of 2 types of coping strategies: disengagement coping and reappraisal coping. These and marital satisfaction. It was hypothesized that the people, the women who are more maritally satisfied will use reappraisal coping, whereas the women who are not satisfied with their marital relationship will use disengagement coping. Demographics, age, duration of marriage and experience were taken as demographic variables. Other than that, you can see that it was thought that it was hypothesized that 3 factors of obesity will be negatively correlated with the marital satisfaction and negatively correlated with the reappraisal coping and positively correlated with the disengagement.
ठीक, थैंक यू. अच्छा आपने टेबल 21 पेज 141 पे पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर एम्प्लॉइज, द टेबल इज नॉट एज पर एपीए, जरा इसको भी बच्चे देख लीजिएगा. और अब मुझे आप बताएं कि कमिंग टू पेज 145 फिगर 5, कैन यू काइंडली एक्सप्लेन दैट फिगर. पेज 145 figure 5.
Ma'am, this is a model of mediation. You can see that the path from openness to experience and extraversion towards reappraisal coping is significant and positive, whereas the structural path from emotional factor, cognitive factor, and psychological factor toward the relationship satisfaction is negative and negative and significant, whereas reappraisal coping toward married relationship satisfaction is significant and positive, and structural path from disengagement coping toward relationship satisfaction is significant and negative. Agreeableness, conscientiousness, and emotional stability were not considered significant in this model.
आपने जो स्केल डेवलप किया, सारा प्रोसेस इट वाज गुड के सारा प्रोसेस आपने EFA CFA कंडक्ट किया. इनिशियली यू dotted down the items through focus group, interview, review process. So my question was that already there is a scale by Dr. Amna Moazzam on disordered eating behavior scale. So do you think the scale you developed, the obesity scale, was it different on certain dimensions from the disordered eating behavior scale through which you tried to find out the convergent validity?
Yes, ma'am. It was very much stunning. It was a different from disordered eating behavior score, as it is directly assessing the factors that are leading toward obesity. In disordered eating behavior scale, there is no there is no such issue that is addressing that causes are leading toward obesity. But in this scale, you can find that there are psychological, emotional, and cognitive factors that are leading to that lead a person toward obesity.
Okay, Ji, thank you. I am done with it. So over to the our other worthy examiner. Ji, Dr. Salma.
जी थैंक यू डॉक्टर आफिया.
हमने टाइम कितना रह गया?
जी 8 minutes हैं हमारे पास, 8.5.
Ji.
Thank you, Dr. Afia. Thank you very much. Okay, Saima, before I begin with the Viva, I would like to appreciate your work, and I have studied your entire thesis, and I must say it is very well written, and you have developed connectivity between the text and proceeded very systematically. So my first question is, what motivated to work on the obesity? Obesity पे ही क्यों काम आपने किया है? Hear me?
Yes, ma'am. मैम
okay.
ओबेसिटी पे मैंने इसलिए काम किया, सिर्फ ओबेसिटी वाज नॉट ओनली द रीजन, इसके साथ एक और जो हमने वेरिएबल रखा है, दैट इज मैरिटल सेटिस्फेक्शन. आई हैव सीन दैट द वुमेन आफ्टर मैरिज दे गेन वेट. और इसके अलावा मैंने ये भी देखा कि बहुत ज्यादा मैंने ये भी देखा कि जो है उनकी मैरिटल लाइफ जो है वो उससे डिस्टर्ब होती है. और when I got married, I heard from each and every person from my in-laws that you will get obese, और उसके बाद जो है ना तुम्हारी जो जिंदगी है ना बस वो इस तरह से, मतलब इसलिए जो है ना मैं I was very much motivated to know whether it is really happens or not. क्या वाकई अगर a person is obese उसकी marital life जो है वो disturb होती है, या it goes in a very smooth and in a very good manner. So these were the motivation other than many other. I wanted to see whether it happens or not actually.
Okay, this is something very interesting. Okay, Saima, in the introduction section of your thesis, you have mentioned that obese women, they experience some mental illnesses. Can you mention some of them? Obese women, they are at more risk of mental illnesses. What type of mental illnesses they experience?
Ma'am, mostly I have seen depression.
आपने जो है आपने इंट्रोडक्शन
Sorry,
में
ma'am, I can't hear.
अच्छा, आपने अपने इंट्रोडक्शन में ये मेंशन किया हुआ है कि obese women experience mental illnesses. I just wanted to know what type of mental illnesses obese women experience. Mental illnesses कौन सी हो सकती हैं because of obesity?
मैम लिटरेचर में मैंने ये देखा था कि उसमें ज्यादातर जो है वो मेंशन किया हुआ था डिप्रेशन और एंजाइटी का बहुत ज्यादा था. इन दोनों का these were more most prominent other than
Okay. From which type of physical illnesses obese women are more likely to suffer?
and like high
I'm
blood
talking
pressure.
about the physical, okay.
जी, heart diseases and diabetes, problems related to their joints, bones, and many others.
And generally, how these obese working women are being perceived by the society? Generally, how they are being perceived?
Ma'am, generally they are perceived lazy,
okay,
less motivated. ये दो ज्यादा जो है ना कि जैसे आमतौर पे ये सुना जाता है कि जहाँ बैठी हैं बैठी ही रहती हैं, इन्होंने तो कोई काम ही नहीं करना होता. ये इतना ये दिस इज अ पेट सेंटेंस दैट इज heard everywhere, I think.
डॉक्टर सलमा की लगता है लाइट चली गई है।
हाँ कुछ ऐसा ही लग रहा है। ओ अब
मेरे
हम क्या
ख्याल
करें?
में डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया सलमा से आमना। डॉक्टर आमना
कनेक्शन पे
मेरे ख्याल
शो
में
तो हो रही हैं लेकिन वो
हाँ,
उनकी
हम
वो
तक
बिल्कुल वो
उनकी ना
स्टैटिक
आवाज
है।
आ रही। हाँ
हाँ स्टैटिक है। 1 मिनट देख लेते हैं क्योंकि वैसे ये
जी
सेशन खत्म
जरूर।
होने में 3 मिनट रह गए हैं सेशन में। अगर फिर वरना हमें दोबारा वो डिस्कनेक्ट हो गई हैं, अब दोबारा ज्वाइन करेंगी। अगर ये
ठीक है, फिर
सेशन जो
हम भी
है
इसको इस सेशन को खत्म कर देते हैं और अगले सेशन में सलमा ही सवाल पूछ ले। डॉक्टर राफिया ने तो पूछ लिए।
जी जी ठीक है ठीक है।
ठीक है
जी
ना?
जी मैंने पूछ ली है, बिल्कुल मैंने पूछ ली है। आज हमारे यहाँ पे भी एक इम्पोर्टेंट चीज चल रही है तो मेरा उधर इसलिए मैंने ये पहला अपना कर लिया था डॉक्टर सलमा को, नहीं तो मैंने
ठीक है,
आज
ठीक
वो
है।
कर
हमारी
लेती
भी एक
थी।
मीटिंग उधर चल रही है यूनिवर्सिटीज के खुलने के हवाले से।
जी जी हर जगह यही ज्यादा चल रहा है कि एचईसी का
हाँ
पता
जी,
नहीं अब क्या डिसीजन आया है इसके ऊपर।
मेरे ख्याल में अगस्त में एग्जाम्स लेंगे और सितंबर में इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह खैर रखे खुल जाएगा।
जी जी हम लोग तो ऑनलाइन, हमें कहा है आउटगोइंग का आप स्टार्ट कर दें 3 अगस्त से, तो हम लोग आउटगोइंग बैचेस के तो ले रहे हैं 3 से।
ठीक ठीक सही।
मुझे लगता है
मेरे
साइमा
रूम में
अहमद की
हमारा
लाइट भी
भी
चली गई है।
ओके जी।
चले
लेकिन
दोबारा
मेरी
ज्वाइन
लाइट
कर
का
लें।
कोई
चले
मसला नहीं।
दोबारा ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं, ठीक है।
ओके
ओके अवैध
मेरी
साहब
लाइट
आप
आने
साथ ही
लग गया
सेशन
बस।
दोबारा साथ ही सेशन स्टार्ट कर दीजिएगा, हम फौरन ही ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं ताकि इसको
अभी
5-10 मिनट में रैप अप
अभी
कर
मैं
लें।
बंद कर दूं?
बंद कर दें और साथ ही दोबारा ज्वाइन कर लें। ठीक
चले
है,
ठीक है, ओके।
थैंक यू थैंक यू।